Welcome to Simple Spoken English. Today I'm excited to share a remarkable journey of learning English that transformed a shy student into a confident communicator. This story is not just about mastering a language. It's about resilience, self-discovery, and the incredible power of connection through words. Join me as we explore the challenges and triumphs faced along the way and discover how embracing language can open doors to new opportunities. The beginning of my journey. Growing up in a small town in India, I was always surrounded by the comforting sounds of my native language. However, as I entered school, I encountered a different reality: English. At first, I was captivated by the language. Its musicality and charm intrigued me, but I soon realized that learning English would be a monumental challenge. My parents encouraged me to learn, believing it would provide me with better opportunities in the future. Little did I know that this journey would not only shape my future, but also teach me invaluable lessons about perseverance and self-discovery. My first formal exposure to English was in school. I remember sitting in the classroom, wide-eyed and anxious, as the teacher spoke mostly in English. The words flowed smoothly from her lips, but to me they felt like an alien language. I struggled to keep up, taking notes filled with jumbled words I could barely comprehend. The vocabulary was daunting. I would look at the words in my textbook, feeling overwhelmed. It felt like trying to navigate a dense forest without a map. As the weeks passed, I found myself becoming increasingly frustrated. My classmates seemed to grasp the language effortlessly, while I lagged behind, my confidence dwindling. The pressure to perform well weighed heavily on me, and I often dreaded speaking in class. I would rehearse answers in my head, only to freeze when called upon. The fear of mispronouncing a word or making a grammatical error paralyzed me. This fear, combined with my limited vocabulary, created a vicious cycle that made me withdraw from speaking opportunities. Outside the classroom, the challenge continued. My friends predominantly spoke Hindi, and whenever I attempted to join conversations in English, they would tease me about my accent or my vocabulary mistakes. Their laughter, though not meant to be cruel, stung. I began to feel isolated, as if I were standing on one side of a glass wall, watching others communicate effortlessly while I remained trapped on the other side. The joy I once felt at the thought of learning English was replaced by anxiety and self-doubt. Despite my struggles, I knew I had to find a way to overcome these barriers. One day, after a particularly challenging class, I sat under a tree in the schoolyard, contemplating my next steps. That was when I decided to take charge of my learning journey. I realized that the only way to break through the barriers I faced was to immerse myself in the language. This revelation marked a turning point in my journey. Determined to improve, I set small, achievable goals. I began with simple tasks, learning 5 new words each day. I would write them down in a notebook, along with their meanings, and practice using them in sentences. Gradually, I started to notice a change. The words became less intimidating, and I felt a sense of accomplishment with each new term I learned. Additionally, I discovered the world of English literature. I picked up children's books, which offered simple stories and engaging characters, As I read, I would sound out the words, gaining confidence in my pronunciation. These books became my companions, transporting me to different worlds, while also strengthening my grasp of the language. The illustrations made the stories come alive, and I found joy in reading, which further fueled my desire to learn. To complement my reading, I started watching English movies and TV shows. At first, I would watch with subtitles in my native language, but as my confidence grew, I switched to English subtitles. I was fascinated by the dialogues and expressions of the characters. Their emotions and actions helped me understand the context of the language, making it easier for me to remember new phrases. I laughed and cried along with the characters, immersing myself in their stories while simultaneously honing my language skills. As I delved deeper into the English language, I realized that the key to improvement lay in practice. I sought out opportunities to speak English whenever possible. I joined a local English-speaking club, where I met individuals from different backgrounds. Initially, I felt apprehensive about speaking in front of others, but the supportive environment encouraged me to express myself. I remember my first meeting, my heart racing as I introduced myself. Despite my nervousness, the applause and encouragement from the group were invigorating, pushing me to keep trying. Through these interactions, I learned that making mistakes was part of the learning process. Everyone in the group was there to improve, just like me, and we all supported one another. As I practiced speaking, I found that I could express my thoughts more freely. My pronunciation improved, and I began to engage in discussions on various topics. The fear that once held me back slowly transformed into excitement as I realized that I was becoming a part of the English-speaking community. Despite my progress, I encountered setbacks along the way. There were moments when I stumbled over words or struggled to articulate my thoughts clearly. However, I learned to embrace these challenges as opportunities for growth. Instead of feeling defeated, I focused on the lessons learned from each experience. I began to keep a journal to reflect on my learning journey, noting down my successes and areas for improvement. As I approached the end of my school years, I was proud of how far I had come. The shy, anxious student who once dreaded speaking in English had transformed into a confident young adult, ready to take on new challenges. My journey had taught me that learning a language is not merely about memorizing vocabulary and grammar. It is about immersing oneself in the culture, embracing challenges, and celebrating progress, no matter how small, overcoming challenges and embracing opportunities. With my newfound confidence in English, I entered college with a sense of excitement. The prospect of studying in an English-speaking environment thrilled me, but it also filled me with anxiety. I knew that the transition would not be easy, and I was determined to continue my growth as an English speaker. My college years became a transformative period in my journey, filled with challenges, opportunities, and moments of self-discovery. The first few weeks of college were overwhelming. I was surrounded by students from diverse backgrounds, each with their unique stories and experiences. The lectures were conducted entirely in English, and I quickly realized that I would need to adapt to this new environment. The speed at which my professors spoke and the complexity of the material often left me feeling lost. I found myself frantically taking notes, trying to keep up, but I struggled to absorb the information. It was a stark reminder that learning English was an ongoing process, one that required continuous effort and dedication. Determined not to let these challenges hinder my progress, I sought help from my peers. I formed study groups with fellow students who were also learning English. These groups became a safe haven for practicing our language skills. We would discuss lecture topics, share our insights, and help each other with assignments. It was during these sessions that I realized the power of collaboration. Learning from one another not only improved my language skills, but also built lasting friendships. As the semester progressed, I started taking advantage of extracurricular activities. I joined the drama club, where I had the opportunity to perform in English plays. The experience was exhilarating and terrifying at the same time. I remember the first rehearsal, my hands shaking as I held the script. But as I immersed myself in the character, I found that my fear began to dissipate. The laughter and applause from the audience after each performance filled me with joy and encouraged me to take risks in my language learning. Another pivotal moment in my journey occurred when I participated in a public speaking competition. The topic was the importance of language in connecting cultures. And I felt a surge of determination as I prepared my speech. I spent hours researching, drafting, and practicing. On the day of the competition, I stood in front of a crowd, my heart pounding. As I began to speak, I felt a rush of adrenaline. My passion for language and culture flowed through my words, and I could see the audience engaged. When I finished, the applause resonated in my ears, a validation of my hard work and dedication. Despite these achievements, there were still moments of self-doubt. I often compared myself to others and questioned whether I was truly proficient in English. I would hear my peers conversing effortlessly, and it would trigger a familiar feeling of inadequacy. However, I learned to combat these negative thoughts with a positive mindset. Instead of focusing on my shortcomings, I celebrated my progress and reminded myself of the obstacles I had already overcome. Each challenge was an opportunity to learn, and I refused to let self-doubt hold me back. As I continued to immerse myself in English, I began to explore various forms of media. I started listening to English podcasts and audiobooks, which exposed me to different accents, vocabulary, and expressions. The stories captivated me, and I found myself eagerly anticipating each new episode. I would take notes on phrases that resonated with me, incorporating them into my everyday conversations. This practice not only expanded my vocabulary but also improved my listening skills. My journey took another exciting turn when I secured an internship with a multinational company. The opportunity to work in a professional environment was both thrilling and intimidating. I remember walking into the office on my first day, nervous but determined to make a good impression. My role involved communicating with clients and colleagues in English, and I quickly realized the importance of effective communication in the workplace. During meetings, I made it a point to contribute actively, even when I felt uncertain about my contributions. I prepared extensively for each meeting, researching the topics in advance and drafting notes to organize my thoughts. To my surprise, my colleagues were supportive and encouraged me to share my ideas, which helped build my confidence further. I learned to articulate my thoughts clearly, and my language skills improved with every interaction. Throughout my internship, I encountered various challenges that tested my ability to communicate effectively. There were moments when I struggled to understand technical jargon or complex discussions. Instead of shying away, I took these as opportunities to ask questions. My colleagues appreciated my willingness to learn, and I often found that clarifying my doubts not only helped me, but also fostered a collaborative environment. This experience taught me the importance of effective communication, not just in language, but in building relationships and working as a team. As my internship progressed, I found myself gaining more responsibilities. I was tasked with drafting emails, reports, and presentations, all in English. The first time I sent out an important email to a client, I felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. I double-checked every word, ensuring there were no mistakes. When I received positive feedback from my supervisor, I felt a wave of relief and pride. My hard work was paying off, and I realized that I had grown more proficient in English than I had ever imagined. Reflecting on my journey, I noticed a significant shift in my attitude toward the language. What once felt like a burden became a source of empowerment. I began to see English as a tool for connection and expression rather than a hurdle. This shift in perspective was liberating. I started participating in English-speaking events, networking with professionals, and engaging in discussions about my interests. Each interaction reinforced my belief that language is a bridge to new opportunities and relationships. However, the journey was not without its challenges. There were moments of frustration when I encountered unfamiliar vocabulary or found myself lost in complex discussions. Sometimes I felt the weight of expectations, both my own and those of others. During these times, I reminded myself of the progress I had made. I revisited my journal, reflecting on my journey, the challenges I had overcome, and the milestones I had achieved. This practice of self-reflection became a powerful tool in maintaining my motivation. As I approached the end of my internship, I was proud of the progress I had made in my English language journey. The shy, hesitant student I once was had transformed into a confident communicator ready to take on new challenges. My journey had taught me the value of resilience, collaboration, and the importance of stepping out of my comfort zone. I felt a newfound sense of purpose, eager to continue learning and growing in both my language skills and my professional life. With my internship behind me, I decided to pursue further opportunities that would allow me to strengthen my English skills. I began exploring online courses focused on business English and advanced communication. These courses helped me refine my language skills and equipped me with the tools I needed to succeed in a professional environment. I immersed myself in case studies, participated in discussions, and worked on projects that challenged me to think critically and communicate effectively. As I continued my studies and professional development, I also sought opportunities to give back to the community. I volunteered at local language centers, helping others learn English. Teaching became a rewarding experience, as I could share the knowledge I had gained and support others in their journeys. Watching my students progress was incredibly fulfilling, and it reinforced my belief in the power of language as a tool for change. In conclusion, my journey of learning English has been transformative. From the initial struggles of understanding the language to the confidence I gained through practice and perseverance, each step has shaped who I am today. I have learned that language is not merely a means of communication. It is a bridge to understanding cultures, building relationships, and seizing opportunities. As I continue on this journey, I carry with me the lessons of resilience, curiosity, and the importance of embracing challenges. My experience has shown me that language learning is a lifelong journey, one that enriches our lives in countless ways. As I continued my journey, I began to set new goals for myself. I wanted to not only become fluent in English, but also to use my skills to make a difference in the world. I started exploring opportunities for travel and cultural immersion. The idea of visiting English-speaking countries excited me, and I envisioned myself engaging with native speakers, absorbing their language and culture firsthand. I researched various programs that offered language immersion experiences, and I was determined to seize these opportunities. In my quest for growth, I also sought to refine my writing skills. Writing had always been a challenge for me, but I recognized its importance in effective communication. I enrolled in writing workshops where I learned to express my ideas more clearly and creatively. Through writing, I discovered a new form of self-expression, allowing me to convey my thoughts and emotions with greater depth. The feedback from my instructors and peers helped me evolve as a writer, and I began to see writing as an integral part of my language journey. In addition to personal growth, I aspired to use my English skills to contribute to the community. I envisioned organizing workshops for individuals seeking to improve their language skills. My experiences as a volunteer at language centers had shown me the power of mentorship, and I wanted to pay it forward. By sharing the strategies and resources that had helped me succeed, I hope to inspire others on their language learning journeys. As I reflected on my journey, I recognized that the road ahead was filled with possibilities. I was excited about the prospect of pursuing higher education in an English-speaking environment. I researched universities that offered programs aligned with my interests, and I began preparing for standardized tests. The thought of studying in a dynamic academic environment invigorated me, and I was determined to put my best foot forward. Throughout my journey, I learned the importance of resilience and adaptability. Language learning is a dynamic process, and it requires a willingness to embrace change and challenge. There were moments when I felt overwhelmed, but I learned to approach setbacks with a growth mindset. Instead of viewing challenges as obstacles, I began to see them as opportunities to learn and evolve. As I set my sights on the future, I remained committed to my goals. I envisioned myself as a confident communicator, able to navigate various professional settings with ease. I wanted to be the person who could engage in discussions, present ideas persuasively, and connect with others on a meaningful level. I understood that this journey would require ongoing effort, but I was prepared to put in the work. In conclusion, my journey of learning English has been a transformative experience that has shaped my identity and aspirations. From the struggles of my early days to the confidence I have gained, Each step has been a testament to the power of perseverance and dedication. I have learned that language is not just a skill, it is a gateway to new opportunities, connections, and self-discovery. As I continue on this journey, I carry with me the lessons of resilience, curiosity, and the importance of embracing challenges. I am excited about the future and the possibilities that lie ahead. With each new word I learn and each conversation I engage in, I am reminded that language has the power to connect us, inspire us, and transform our lives. I look forward to the next chapter of my journey, eager to embrace the challenges and opportunities that await me as I continue to grow as an English speaker and as a global citizen. This three-part narrative captures the essence of a journey in learning English, reflecting personal growth, challenges, and aspirations. If you enjoyed this story and want to embark on your own journey to fluency, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more engaging content from Simple Spoken English. Join our community of learners and take your English skills to the next level. Together, we can unlock the world of language. See you in the next video.